Hello, Doug here. Welcome back to yet another board game channel and yet another round in Arkham Horror, the card game, as we work our way through the Gathering scenario, the first scenario in the Night of the Zealot campaign. We are attempting to gather a number of clues so that we can get into the parlor. Over there, we're nearly there. Daisy's got 4 clues. Skids has 1. So we just need 1 more, and if we have those 6 at the end of the turn, at the end of the round, things will continue to happen. Probably a mix of good and bad. Alright, now we'll just get right into it. So first up, we will be doing the dreaded Mythos phase. And the first thing we do is place 1 Doom on our agenda. We're up to 2 of 7. We would advance it if we had enough tokens to advance. We do not. So now our investigators have to each draw a card from the encounter deck. So we will start with Skids, who gets Grasping Hands, Hazard. Decaying hands rise up from below and grasp and claw at your ankles. On a revelation, test agility versus 3. For each point you fail, take 1 damage. Let's see. This is Skids. Skids has got an agility of 4. Could do better. What we'll do, he does have Hard Knocks, which as a free action, we can spend a resource to get an extra agility for this skill test. I wonder if we should send... Well, no, I don't want to use up an extra one. Let's go with... that'll give him 5 agility versus the 3. So that means a -2 or better. And he's okay. So looking, and he got a -1. So there we go. Grasping Hands. Skids pulls away from them, probably swearing the whole time. Alright, so now it's Daisy's draw, and okay, it's apparently a bit of an epidemic. There are more Grasping Hands. I swear there are ghouls in this deck. I shuffled them in. So yeah, same test 3. Her agility is only 2. However, with her hyper-awareness, she can improve her agility. She's got 6 resources, so I think I will go ahead and spend a couple of hers. So if I spend 2, that'll get her up to 4 versus 3. That's not bad. She's already pretty badly hurt. She's got, she's down to 3 health, so I'm actually gonna spend 3 resources, because that'll get her up to 5 versus the 3. So again, she needs a -2 or better, and we get -3. So she does take 1 damage. That's too bad. That knocks her down to 2. So we're going to have to keep her away from all monsters possible. So that's dealt with. Alright, now on to the investigation phase, and we will start with Skids. Alright, we've got Skids in the cellar. We have 3 clues to potentially pick up. We just need one of them. I think I'm going to have to leave this up to Skids to get them, because I do not want to send Daisy down there, because it'll give her 1 more damage and she'll be down to a single health. And that's bad. So, yeah, unfortunately, Skids doesn't have anything to improve. Yeah, he has nothing to improve his intellect. So he's just going to be doing a straight 3 intellect check versus a Shroud of 4. So a -1 or better. Fingers crossed. There we go. Get that a bit. Okay, look away and pick out. -1. He actually did it. Yes, 3 versus 3. We now have the 6 tokens, the 6 clue tokens. So, for Skids' second action, I'm going to move him over to the hallway, because we do need to be in the hallway to actually progress the act. For his final action, well, his flashlight, hold on, I'm going to switch over to his character area. Yeah, there we are. Yeah, his flashlight doesn't work anymore. He's used up all 3. So instead of keeping all of that, what I'll do is spend 1 resource for his third action and put the knife into play. He's already got the machete, but the knife is just more useful than the now dead flashlight anyway. And I'm just making sure that Skids does have 5 resources left, because I'm pretty sure we're going to need the dynamite soon. Alright, that's all 3 of Skids' actions. Now let's see what we can do with Daisy. Well, the first thing we'll do with Daisy is use her free tome action and take that final horror hit off of the Necronomicon, which allows us to discard it. And now, when she draws the Elder Sign token, it counts as an Elder Sign token, not the failure tentacles. So that was her free action. For her first action, might as well put some of these cards in play, because they could be useful. Well, there's only one she can actually put into play. We'll spend 1 of her 3 resources and put Scrying into play, which itself can be used 3 times. So put 3 resources on there, well, up here for now. I figure we might as well go ahead. We're just standing around here waiting for the round to end, so she might as well go ahead and use it once, exhaust Scrying, and spend 1 charge. Look at the top 3 cards of any investigator's deck or the encounter deck. Return them to the top of that deck in any order. I think we're not doing too badly with what we have on us. Skids is well armed at this point, and he's going to be doing all the heavy fighting, so I think we're going to grab the top 3 cards of the encounter deck and put those in some kind of order. Okay, we have, say I told you there were ghouls in here, a ghoul minion, another swarm of rats, and ancient evils, which will put 1 doom token on the agenda. We still have a ways to go on that agenda, so I'm going to put this on top, followed by the swarm of rats. Oh, wait a minute. Going to have Skids draw first, probably. So, okay. In that case, the swarm of rats, because Skids can deal with that very easily, followed by the ancient evils, and then we won't get a ghoul until the turn after that. So we get rid of one resource and exhaust scrying. Now for her third action, well, she's really only got one more thing she can do. These are only used when doing skill tests. So we will spend 0 resources but 1 action on the emergency cache. Get her 3 supplies. 1, 2, and 3. So she's ready to use more cards in future if it comes to that. Alright, that is the end of the investigation phase. So now we will move on to, well, we would move on to the enemy phase. We still don't have any enemies on the board. Being extremely lucky in that aspect. Then, yeah, the upkeep phase. So we'll just zoom out. Alright, upkeep phase. So we flip our investigators over. We ready all exhausted cards, so we unexhaust Daisy's scrying spell. Then each investigator draws a card and a resource. So we will start with Skids. Skids picks up Overpower. It's a skill to use on a test. It'll give him 2 extra combat. Can only use 1 of these per test. Die, you beast! And if the test is successful, he does get to draw another card. So we'll put that in his hand and get him 1 more resource. Now Daisy is going to pick, an ally. Dr. Milan Christopher, Professor of Entomology. My, that's a very large bug behind him. Ally Miskatonic, get +1 intellect. And as a reaction, after you successfully investigate, gain 1 resource. Oh, so you would get, yeah, you would get a resource on top of the clue. And he's got a quote. While I truly pray that this nightmare is just a singular abomination, I must admit that I am exhilarated by the possibility that this is but one specimen of a new genus. Sure. And if we have him in play and we want him to, he can soak up 1 damage and 2 sanity. Put that in her hand. Oh, and then give her another resource. Then we check to make sure we don't have 8 cards in hand. No, we've only got 3 each. So we have reached the end of the round, which means when the round ends, investigators in the hallway may, as a group, spend the requisite number of clues, 6, to advance. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Daisy's got 4. And Skids has the other 2. So we get to flip over the barrier, breaking the barrier. Using the barrel from the attic, you carry ice and snow from the cellar and hurl it at the barrier. The barrier sparks and shudders as it consumes the ice, then hisses and fades out of existence. The barrier blocking passage into the parlor has vanished. Reveal the parlor. So before we do the next step, let's go ahead and do that. The parlor with, yeah, some ghoul bits. It has a shroud of 2. There, as an action, when here, you can resign. This is too much for me. You run out of the front door fleeing in panic. You might do that because resigning, choosing to just back out is still better than utterly losing. And while Lita Chandler is not controlled by a player, she'll show up shortly, she gains a bit of extra. As an action, you can parlay with her. Test for intellect. If you succeed, take control of Lita Chandler. I'll put that back. There. Then put the set-aside Lita Chandler into play in the parlor. Just grab her. There we go. You can see she is potentially an asset. Lita Chandler. She is the Zealot from the Night of the Zealot. Potential ally. When you control Lita Chandler, she gains. Each investigator at your location gets +1 combat. That's good. And as a reaction, when an investigator at your location successfully attacks a monster enemy, that investigator deals +1 damage. So with her on our side, we can hit harder. Then finally spawn the set-aside Ghoul Priest in the hallway, which is where we are, of course. Ghoul Priest, see, we have to fight a combat of 4. It's got an agility of 4, so if we were trying to evade it, we would have to choose against that. See, it's got 5 hit points per investigator, so we've got 10. Hope we can do this. Keywords: humanoid, monster, ghoul, elite. Prey means that it will always engage with, in this case, whichever investigator has the highest combat, where they are. Hunter means they'll follow. Follow us somewhere else. Retaliate means, here, let's just get this. If an investigator fails a skill test when attacking an enemy that has the retaliate keyword, the enemy, if it is ready, as opposed to being exhausted, performs an attack, damage, and horror against the investigator. You can see it'll be worth 2 victory points if we defeat it. It does 2 physical and 2 sanity damage, so we don't want to get hit by this. That would be very bad. A figure in red robes wearing a bone mask. It gibbers and snarls before leaping to attack. Now, because it's going into the hallway, it will automatically engage whoever has the highest combat, which is, yes, that'll be Skids. So I'm actually going to put that straight into Skids' threat area. And that's that for that act card. So, we move on to our final act. What have you done? A woman with a torch stands in your parlor, a glimmer of hatred in her eyes. What have you done to my barrier? She screams, furious. Before you can answer, a ghastly wail sounds behind you, and a creature wearing robes and a deer skull mask tears through the wall, advancing towards you. Objective: if the Ghoul Priest is dead, advance. So, yes, we need to kill this big guy, and it could be tough. Right, that's the end of the round, which means we will now loop back around to the Mythos phase. Okay, first step for the Mythos phase is putting a Doom token on the agenda. I don't think we're going to win or lose before we flip that agenda over, I think. And now, right, the encounter deck. So Skids first. Yes, he gets the Swarm of Rats again. So that goes into his play area. So he's dealing with 2 monsters, although one of them is extremely easy. And then Daisy, right, as planned, it turns over the Ancient Evils, which will place 1 extra Doom token. on the agenda. So that's not too bad. Now, what we're going to do first, going to do Daisy's actions first. Alright, Daisy, in the hallway for her first action, is going to dash into the parlor. She doesn't have to evade either of the monsters because they are both engaged with skids. So, move her into the parlor. For her second action, she is going to try to acquire Lita for us. So we have to do a test against intellect versus 4. Now, let's see, her intellect base is 5. She gets an extra one with, oh no, that's only while investigating, so she's got a 5. So, we are going to use her hyper-awareness to boost that a little bit. Get a +1 for each resource, and let's see, yeah, we really want this to succeed. So, we're gonna, sorry, what did I say she was up to? 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we'll spend 3. Get her up to 8. Which means very little can make her fail here. And good thing I put it up to 8, because that -4 means she just made it. So, she now controls Lita Chandler, so we will put that in her play area. I think that all counts as part of the same action. Not that it matters that much, because I'm not sure what else she's going to do. I guess for her third action, we might as well just have her pick a card. And she go, another emergency cash. Okay, that is Daisy done. Now, time for Skids to go into action. Alright, first thing that I want Skids to do is to try to evade these critters so that he can leave the room. I know they're going to follow, but that's okay, because they won't follow instantly. If I don't manage to evade them and then move, they will come along with. So, let's see if he can evade the rats first of all. They have an evade value of 3. Which means, yes, and he has agility of 4. So he needs a -1 or better. And, oh, Elder Sign, remind myself, it's actually a +2, yay. And if you succeed, gain 2 resources. Well, that's extremely handy. So as he's evaded the rats, they now are just active in the hallway, not specifically on him. Next, and this is the one we really want him to be successful at, evading the Ghoul Priest, who has an evade value of 4. Right, Skids again is 4. What we're going to do, because I want to make sure we succeed at this, I'm going to use this Hard Knocks. I'm going to spend some resources to get a +1 agility. 7. So yeah, just going to spend 3, giving him an agility of 7. So very little can make him fail this. Got the skull. Remind me what the skull means. Minus X, where X equals the number of ghoul enemies in your location. That's just the 1, so it's only a -1. So yes, he evaded handily. That was his first action. For his second action, he's going to move into the parlor, where he won't take any damage just by entering. And then he is going to spend the remaining 5 of his resources to activate the Dynamite Blast. Choose either your location or a connecting location. The hallway is connected. Deal 3 damage to each enemy and each investigator in the chosen location. There are no investigators. But that's 3 damage, which means the swarm of rats is taken out. And the ghoul priest is going to have 3 damage placed on him. And that is all 3, oh, finished her too, all 3 of Skids' actions. Which means we are now finished the investigation phase, and now we actually, for the first time in a long time, do the enemy phase. Enemies with the hunter keyword move towards the nearest enemy. It is a hunter. It's going to follow them into the parlor, and then engage. Well, it's going to go after Skids, because again, he has the highest combat. So it's going to go into his threat area, and he's going to attack. Wait, okay, except it didn't follow us in. I forgot that when you do manage to evade an enemy, it exhausts. So yeah, we basically tap it like that, which means on the enemy phase, it doesn't get to move, basically, because it's a little dazed from the fact that Skids actually managed to get away from him. So that means we just go into the upkeep phase, which means refreshing our investigators, and this is when the ghoul priest also refreshes. Then, yeah, drawing cards and taking resources. So Skids first. Skids gets 41 Derringer, which is probably better than, well, better than the knife anyway. I don't know if it's better than machete. Item, weapon, firearm, illicit. It's got three shots. As an action, spend 1 ammo, fight, get a +2 combat for the attack, and if you succeed by 2 or more, the attack deals +1 damage. So, a little bit better than the knife. But the knife we can use, we can just throw that as a last-ditch attack, and then maybe activate this the turn after. Anyway, and he also gets a resource. Yeah, he now has 1 resource. Now Daisy picks her card. Arcane Studies, an asset, which she can spend resources to get willpower or intellect. Not that she really needs a whole lot of intellect now, but there we go. So yeah, I'll put that into her deck. Take out 1 more resource for her. And we have 8 cards or less in our hands. So that ends this round. So we'll leave it at that. We're nearly there. Next turn, I'm hoping we can take out the... can't talk all of a sudden. Hoping we can take out the Ghoul Priest in the next couple of turns, which means the next video. So fingers crossed. We'll see. A lot of it will depend what comes up on the Mythos deck. Blech. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing and everything. It's much appreciated. And we will see you next time when we do yet another episode of Arkham Horror, the card game. See you then.